we look at the current state of application delivery, right, we have a crazy mix of old and new applications, workloads, and that you all need to run in your organization. Most large enterprises have huge existing application portfolios and that are built on traditional architectures and with traditional languages, whether you're using Java, .NET, others. Right. And these are supporting both stateful and stateless workloads. In addition, many of these applications, or many of these organizations are building new applications with modern workloads. So you're using existing applications or new architectures with your microservices or with new APIs and newer languages and frameworks such as Quarkus, Spring, or Node.js, or others. Many of them are moving now to integrate more intelligence and newer models into their applications, such as analytics, AI/ML. Definitely interested to hear what applications you're also using. And then some of the questions that we ask ourselves as we're going through this are, what applications do you have in your portfolio? Are they new, are they old? And what challenges are you really struggling with in terms of serving your business with your application portfolio? And then also, we're thinking about your development methodologies and your processes, and how are we going to support your applications that are developed, whether you're using waterfall, whether you're using agile practices, whether you're implementing CI/CD or DevOps methodologies. And you need to provide a mix of skills to support these varying methodologies. And your development teams have to keep pace and identify new ways to build and deploy your applications faster. So, and as you're trying to run these applications that run your business, where are you doing this? Is it in the cloud? Is it on-prem? Is it on bare metal? Right? Are you using virtual machines? And then, if you're like many of our customers, you're also running in multiple clouds. In addition to maybe a private cloud, or on bare metal, again, or at the edge. So when you think about it, your infrastructure is already hybrid, right? And we talk about hybrid a lot. And do you have an architecture that is flexible enough to support this hybrid world? And for the past 10 years or so, we have been talking about the open hybrid cloud. Many of you have helped innovate and have really helped us succeed, creating value for the rest of the customers. I'm saying, it's a group journey, right? It's been a long time. So Rail had to reach individual servers, and Rail, booted up hardware consistently. And then we extended that to the cloud. And it's the constant that applications can be built to regardless of the underlying need. And then with newer cloud-native technologies, applications and microservices, there really was a requirement for a distributed platform. And OpenShift fills that need for existing as well as new applications. And then we talk about edge. And I'm looking at Frank Zdarsky because he's here. He'll be talking later. So edge will require a new architecture that deals with constraints around storage, compute, network connectivity, and management. And our opportunity is extend our existing platforms to the requirements of the new architecture and where that architecture is being placed. Now, stick around for this afternoon for another talk about edge. Today, like Diane said, today is just jam-packed. So Red Hat OpenShift is available today and can be consumed on any of the public clouds, right, as a Red Hat-backed SRE managed service. In addition, so the self-managed OpenShift, it offers more clouds and on-premises virtual and physical infrastructures that you can run OpenShift on. All right, so what is the Red Hat hybrid cloud platform comprised of? Now I know this is an eye chart and we use this a lot, but it explains a lot. So at the core of OpenShift Container Platform is Red Hat's distribution of Kubernetes built on top of Red Hat Enterprise Linux Core OS, right? And that provides automated and one-click installs and upgrades. So again, on a variety of public clouds where you need it to run. In addition, it offers platform, developer, and data tools and services on top of that to address the needs of the application developers and data scientists, DevOps, MLOps. I mean, we have so many of you here today. And that being said, so enterprise organizations are finding the need to accelerate and scale the development, deployment, and management of these applications. You need it managed securely, thinking about compliance, thinking about total cost of ownership, right? So you also need to answer a few questions in this context, such as, can I deploy applications to multiple clusters and expose those services to my users? Can I monitor multiple clusters and drive updates? Are my images free from vulnerabilities? How do I secure my software supply chain? That's a big buzzword lately, buzz phrase, but a very important one. So these are all the things that you have to think about. And can I store my images in connected and disconnected environments? So building on this, you've probably heard about OpenShift Platform Plus. So OpenShift Platform Plus is OpenShift Container Platform plus Advanced Cluster Manager plus Advanced Cluster Security plus Red Hat Quay. So it's all integrated together and tested together to meet your needs. And again, if it's not meeting your needs, please talk to one of the product managers or your sales team. Okay. Now, again, Red Hat really believes in open source, and we absolutely focus on upstream first. Now, I put on here just a few minutes ago, well, before I started, you'll see at the top left, there's the Backstage logo. I don't know if you saw that announcement. So Red Hat is contributing to Backstage. And again, stay for this afternoon when the fabulous Serena Nichols will be talking a little bit more about that and some development work that's been going on. But for all of you that have been collaborating with us in the upstream, thank you. I mean, we're all in this together. All right, the Red Hat Marketplace. So we have a very broad system of ecosystem partners, and we have a lot of you partners here today. So again, thank you. And the Red Hat Marketplace, where you can certify and validate ISV software, right? Makes it easy to try and buy and deploy different capabilities. So it's very comprehensive and it's ever growing. And if you are a partner and you haven't been added to the Red Hat Marketplace yet, go check it out. Okay. Now this this is the list of publicly referenceable Red Hat OpenShift customers. Not comprehensive, and if you're not on here, let's talk. But it's amazing. There's over 3,000 OpenShift customers, and it's even greater than that. But we're just so proud of all the value that we've brought to all these customers. And I know some of you are here today, and we're hearing you talk again, and we're just so happy to have you here. All right, so then as we look to the remainder of this year and beyond, we're really looking hard at how else we can enable our customers to accelerate the deployment of applications and hybrid clouds and the clusters through, we call it the hybrid cloud experience. And this experience is delivered through a consistent developer ops and subscription experience. So we're really focusing hard on consistency, right? You need consistency in deployment, consistency in management, consistency in your whole experience. And then when we're talking about the hybrid cloud experience, we're really talking about, like I said, a unified experience, so uniformity everywhere, and security everywhere, as well as platform consistency. So I know I've said consistency a lot, but that's really one of the major themes. And we talk about those themes, and then we talk about the different pillars that we've been focusing on as well. And one is our core OpenShift, right? So in addition to our core, which is all our investments in Kubernetes, Linux, and platform and developer tools, in addition to GitOps and DevOps. So in addition to that, we also have our telco edge pillar, which, although it says telco and edge, and all the great features that'll help those customers, that also contributes to the rest of the platform. So when we look at minimizing the OpenShift footprint for edge or telco, that enhances the rest of the platform as well. But in our telco edge pillar, we look at a lot of container native network functions or AIML applications that are deployed out to the edge. Or how do we collect data at the edge and anonymize it and clean the data for consumption at the core? So we're looking at a lot of things. And then our managed cloud services pillar, we're bringing OpenShift and application services from Red Hat and partners as a fully managed SRE service, so that if you need that, Red Hat will take care of it for you. So go look at Rosa and ARO. And now I can just talk about whatever I want. We don't need to use the slides anymore, right? I guess we do. I didn't see this side. All right, so the future direction. For multi-cluster and hybrid cloud. All right. With the growth of Kubernetes adoption, the whole landscape is changing. We're seeing trends towards smaller fit-for-purpose clusters rather than the gigantic multi-node clusters that are shared across teams or organizations or geographies. And then with the sprawl of clusters, many organizations have to deal with a growing number of applications in the cloud. So if you're running different Kubernetes distributions, are you dealing with automation? Do you need to maintain consistency? Yes, consistency again, at both the application level and the cluster level. And again, we talk a lot about scale. So to address these challenges of fleet management, we've shifted our thinking about how we manage the fleet, right? So we've embraced this hub and spoke pattern as our approach to managing and operating fleets of Kubernetes clusters. So the hub is the infrastructure cluster. So it's the management cluster. And then at the spokes, we provide all the tools. So the hub, I'm rephrasing it. All right, so at the hub, we have our management and our infrastructure cluster, right? And so all the spoke clusters can be different teams, right? The smaller clusters. And maybe host different types of workloads, and it just provides a modular approach to repeatable deployments of the same workload. So some examples are your dev test clusters, or user acceptance testing, staging, production. And then these spoke clusters can also segregate and enable different groups within one's organization. And with this approach, you can minimize your redundancy and simplify your management, and then reduce your total cost of ownership by using the shared cluster to support the multiple spoke clusters. All right, so with your fleet management, it becomes vital to have a single hybrid cloud platform to build, deploy, and manage your application with comprehensive security at scale to support your digital transformation journey. Our solution to address these set of challenges is, mentioned it already, Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus. So it's the comprehensive portfolio. So again, you have your multi-cluster management, your container registry, which is Red Hat Quay, and your multi-cluster security. And then also storage. So we're going to look through these layers. We're going to talk about networking, storage. But before we do that, I wanted to mention really quickly about some innovation. So Aaron talked a lot about different things that are happening in emerging tech and different innovations. But some of the things we're also looking at are, maybe we've talked about it some, KCP and HyperShift. So, and stick around later when we have a future of Kubernetes control planes talk. But with KCP, we're looking at logical clusters. And then with HyperShift, we're looking at physical or logical control planes, and then we're looking at physical control planes. So these areas, both of these innovations target different areas. And so with KCP, which stands for Kubernetes Control Plane, we think about, we're looking at exploring the reuse of Kubernetes APIs kind of at the higher level in order to orchestrate many different application workloads, as well as services across the hybrid cloud. And then with HyperShift, it enables administrators to manage OpenShift as a control plane at scale. So that's more of a middleware layer. Stick around 11 o'clock. You'll hear more in depth about KCP and HyperShift. But let's talk about advanced cluster management. So now operation teams can look at, to drive their cluster deployments on premises as well as in the cloud. Now, who here has been using ACM? Okay, awesome. So right now, we're looking to include cost-effective management capabilities around cluster hibernate. I know a lot of people are interested in being able to hibernate your clusters, as well as cluster pools, in order to more easily and quickly deploy your clusters. And then also looking around capabilities into the managed OpenShift clusters. So all from the same central hub. Now we talked about that hub and spoke model. And then also, we're really interested in driving desired state policy driven governance and compliance. So a lot of banks, right, financial, others, compliance is important. So we're looking more into that as well. And then integration with advanced cluster security in order to deploy their sensors as well. And then looking into application lifecycle. We're continuing to support customer investments in OpenShift app resources, Argo CD, Helm charts, and then ensuring a GitOps-driven workflow. And I think Andy Block is here, so remember to go to the Helm talk on Thursday. All right, and then we're also looking at Flux and Azure DevOps. So really looking to continue to provide application health and status signals from a single console. So again, if you're looking for enhancements and you're looking for additional capabilities, please reach out to the teams because we're looking at all of that now. And then also big is observability. And we're planning to bring the cluster health metric support for the non-OpenShift clusters into ACM. So right now there's been success with GKE sending metrics, and so looking further into the other Kubernetes distributions if the organizations have a mixed clusters. And then lastly, looking at enabling export of the hub metrics. So that has also been really asked for frequently. So operation teams can use third-party tools to more deeply look into their analytics. Okay. Now, advanced cluster security. Who here is using ACS? Not many? Okay. So with advanced cluster security, again, it's one of the core components of OpenShift Platform Plus. Now, we really have been focusing on securing the end-to-end application lifecycle. And we're focusing on 6 areas. So looking at how to reduce your whole security program costs, by enabling teams to shift security left, so into your pre-production processes. So there's continued improvements in vulnerability management and compliance workflows. Your developers can address your security risks much earlier in the life cycle, which again reduces your total cost of ownership, total risk assessment is decreased as you're catching these security issues early. We're also looking at enabling effective prioritization workflows. So providing security teams with the information to prioritize the issues that they're seeing. And third, providing best-in-class OpenShift support. across all the platforms. So OpenShift dedicated, OpenShift on AWS, OpenShift on Azure. So making all of these security features a first-class citizen in OpenShift. And then, as you're aware, had it on the big slide with all the logos. StackRox, ACS is based on StackRox. Now, StackRox was an acquisition, it was proprietary software, and so we open sourced it and continuing to work with upstream communities in improving that. And there's a talk later. I know Doran is here talking about ACS. So looking forward to that, a deeper dive into the ACS roadmap. So also focusing on advanced security workflows for Kubernetes. And the last focus area is for security teams that want to also track their KPIs, so their key performance indicators for security. So we're working to gather KPIs for programs, how to make recommendations around actions that security teams want to take and really delivering on their ROI, their return on investment. And next, talk about Red Hat Quay. So don't worry, we're almost done, and the really brief overview. So Red Hat Quay continues to be our distributed and highly available container image registry. We're still and continue to invest in container builds, security scanning, geo-replication, and Quay will continue to get aligned with the rest of the look and feel of OpenShift. So there's going to be completely new UI, so Quay.io is also getting a new UI, so just look out for that. And so over time, it's going to be integrated into console.redhat.com, so if you're using console. So you can see your current content from that perspective and manage your Quay.io billing from there if you're using Quay.io billing through the Red Hat Marketplace. So many customers have asked for being able to use purchase orders, right? Or pay as you go using a credit card, so gives you flexibility. So on the security front, Quay image scanning is going to be aligned with Advanced Cluster Security's image scanning component. So Java packages and images that are stored in the Quay registry, it's going to be extended to that. So that's, it really increases the security scanning coverage to the level of the programming language. So those package managers, and it allows you to get alerted about security vulnerabilities before the image gets pulled. So again, earlier in the life cycle. All right, you're getting I got my timer, but she's cutting me off. Okay. All right, let's take a quick look at networking. So our plans for networking expand to include single node OpenShift, so HyperShift. Again, talking about HyperShift after the break. Multi-cluster, hybrid cluster, and globally unified networking. And again, we're looking to unify how we handle traffic. So again, consistency, unify, hearing some themes around making sure that we're consistent across the portfolio. And then we continue to work with Submariner to provide enhanced multi-cluster networking capabilities. So again, if you're working upstream in Submariner. And then also for your layer 3 and layer 4, but then we also mentioned Scupper for your layer 7 networking, right? So if you're also working upstream with Scupper. All right, so again, key takeaway, unifying traffic in and out between clusters across the hybrid cloud, providing a unified experience. Really that's secure and consistent across the platforms. All right, this is the last slide. Sorry, Diane, sorry. All right, so on the storage front, not gonna talk about the announcement, but we will talk about that, we continue to use ODF and an OpenShift storage. I'm going to briefly mention that, so the container storage interfaces, so your CSIs, have it across the platforms, across the clouds, and we'll continue to support additional CSIs. And then we're working on migrating the Kubernetes entry storage plugins to CSIs, and eventually we'll remove the entry storage plugins. So remember, if you're using them, migrate to the CSIs to make it seamless and so you don't run into issues later. Also, should highlight the CSI inline ephemeral volumes. A lot of people have been asking for the ephemeral volumes. That's currently out right now. And we're planning on adding capability to transfer your PVCs between namespaces, and then that would apply to snapshots as well. So look for that too. And then ODF, OpenShift Data Foundation. So it's integrated into the OpenShift console. You'll see dashboard alerts configuration. So if you're using file, block, or object. And then now you have the choice of encrypting your data at rest, either for the entire cluster or at the PV level, so your persistent volume level.